Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour, hosted by yours truly, Raw Daddy himself. Grandma, I know you are tuned in, but did you bring grandson this time? You should be tuned in. Let me introduce you guys to my guest today. To my left, I have Vicky, varsity cheerleader in attendance. And I also got my boy Myles all the way down there with the cool glasses on, man, representing Houston. Today, we're going to be talking about millennials, right? Are millennials broken? We are currently the generation that is in the driver's seat of the world right now, as we are in our late 20s to mid 30s. So we're the generation that's kind of setting the table for the next set of groups. And I want to kind of talk today about if we were prepared to be in this position and the types of things that we're going to do in order to make sure that the generations that follow us have an easier time and are better prepared to be in this driver's seat when they get to that point. So first, I'm gonna start with you, Myles, and I just want to get your perspective on the millennial generation and kind of how we're handling things right now that are going on.
Personally, I feel like that we're not broken. Like you said, we're in the driver's seat. Like I thought a lot about this topic, and I feel more so that it's about, yes, we're in the driver's seat, but like generations are so used to having like that previous generation give you the right information you need to carry on, to grow up to be in your 30s and 40s, and you already kind of know, you have the formula on what you need to do. We're just the first generation in a very long time to where the generation before us, the information is not needed. We can't use anything that they're trying to give us. Like I can't use what my uncle is trying to give me to operate in the world today. I don't think that it's a bad thing. We just happen to be that generation that's in the seat to create new norms, create new probably perspectives on work-life environment and stuff like that. And it can be very scary because like we don't have anybody to go to. You know what I mean? We have to create every day as we go on, but do it with cautious because the next generation is watching. And I think us understanding that, you know, the information that our parents tried to give us is not working, it scared us at first. But like you said, a lot of us are getting older. We're hitting 30 now, so we're starting to really understand that, look, a new norm is being shaped, and I know a little bit more than my parents about how to operate in today's world, and I can show the next individual that's coming up, like, you know, look, this is the new work life, you know. You don't have to go and get a 9-to-5 to, you know, bring in some money, bro, to pay your bills or anything like that. So I think overall, just us being in that driver's seat was nerve-wracking at first, but I think we're going to get the hang of it.
Vicky, what's your perspective on how we're doing?
I do not think that millennials are broken. I think we're doing a good job because when I think about the age range, I believe it's like if you were born in 81 to like 94, 96, yeah. That's a 15-year gap, and I think millennials as a whole, like if we even think about technology, we've seen, you know, we were using the little Nokias. All you could play was Snake, you know.
Snake was,
you know, we saw
now.
internet, we were on MySpace, you know, Black Planet, all just if you think about technology, all the different changes that we've gone through as millennials, living through 9/11, and actually like, well, for me, I was in high school when that happened, you know. Shut up. I hate you. But for me, like, you know, I was in high school when that happened. So we've seen a lot of different things. We've had to adapt. We were the first ones really who created this whole influencer lifestyle, because YouTube, I think, started in what, like 08, 09 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or even just like fashion blogging, that kind of stuff, actually going non-traditional routes and actually creating a career or money from it. So I think we've started a lot of things. We've seen a lot of things. We've been able to adapt. I think the challenge is, and that's a good point, Myles, is that our parents lived in a very different world than what we live in now. So it's hard for them to help us navigate. And another issue, I think, is like a lot of millennials are dealing with student loan debt. And that's a huge hindrance in how, I'm not going to say how far we can go, but it's kind of like a stumbling block for us in trying to get where we're trying to go, but we have like this, you know, our cloud of student debt over us. And I think it's the worst amongst our generation, I believe. So I think there are just different roadblocks that we have to get past, but I think that we've done a good job as far as like innovation, creating different ways of thinking, different mindsets, going non-traditional routes, and kind of actually changing things from where they were.
Yeah, I don't think that we're broken anymore. I think there was a point that we were kind of when we first started entering this level of prime, because like you said, the student debt, all of this stuff. And I think for a lot of us, our world just came crashing down on us, because as we reached the point where we were no longer under our parents' guidance, right? And we got to the point where we were trying to seek out our own lives. It was at that moment that we all had to realize, I can't use none of this shit. I cannot use none of this shit. We were the first generation to go, and we were the first generation that was heavily pushed to go to college. Every single one of us, doesn't matter what, every one of you go to college, because we no longer have those factory jobs where you can get it at 18 and you can stay until you're 60 and then retire. That ended in our childhood. So we were no longer able to do that. So what did our parents immediately go to, which I don't blame them? Send them all to college. Student debt doesn't matter. Sign it up. I don't care what the loan is. Let's do it. Let's all go get it. That's why we have so much debt. And that's why we're able to tell our younger counterparts, like, okay, hold on, homie, maybe you want to stay a little closer to home, get, a grant or something like that. That's why we're able to help them. But we were that first generation that was really pushed to like, no, you have to go to college all 4, 5, 6 years, however long it takes for you to graduate. So we did that, got through it, and then got to the point where we were like, dang, I want to start a business. I'm not even about to use this $80K in debt that I just accrued. My mom personally, she's been working for Blue Cross Blue Shield since she was 18, right? Has got many promotions, moved up all this stuff. But I can't do that. Like, that doesn't apply to me, right? A lot of older generations will kind of call us lazy sometimes because we don't want to stay at a job for 10, 12 years. And it's like, we can't. With the way that inflation works and the way that y'all raise, we just can't do it. It's not feasible, right? And we're not getting pensions at the end either. We're not going to reap the benefits of staying at a company for 20 years. So it just makes no sense for us to do it. So do I think we're broken? Not anymore. I think we're kind of finding our way. We're starting to realize, like you said, like we're paving a road that has not been paved yet. We decided to go down a lane where it's like, all right, well, it's going to be rougher, but I'm going to have to pave this shit every step. So we can only take a step once we have paved it. No one else is able to pave it for us, right? So I'm going to kick it to you, Vicky. How do you feel about how we're doing now, having regained our strength a little bit? Do you feel like we're setting things up well for the generations that are coming after us?
I think so. I think we've already started that. And I think about it in terms of even just like this whole how people are having lucrative lifestyles off of just influencing. That started with our generation. So I think that just us stopping to think and be smarter about different decisions and the steps we take, like you talking about college, like I think there's nothing wrong with college. It's, if you want to go, that's great. If that's where you feel you can gain the skills that you need. And I think college is not just about the academic learning. It's about social, social interaction as well, and just learning how to be on your own now and navigate the world for yourself. But I think we're being smarter about that now and understanding that, okay, if I want to do this, maybe I don't necessarily need to go to this school. Maybe I can pick up knowledge elsewhere. So I think like our generation really started kind of evaluating those things. And then also, like for me, my college was on scholarship. I was on scholarship. So my loans didn't come from undergrad. My loans came from a professional school. And a lot of people are dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just like 20K, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So I think that that's kind of also forced us to be innovative. And I think the younger generation is watching like things that we're doing as far as innovation goes. But and I think that they've been able to take what they've learned from us and now develop it and move faster with it. And so I think it's just like each generation is kind of piggybacking off the last. So I think we have had a good setup, and now the next generation is just going to take it further. from there.
Myles, do you see any examples of that? Like, are there any things that kind of stick out in your head that's like, we started this and we were able to pass it down to the next generation, they were to take it and kind of flourish with it?
Man, definitely. I see it all the time, especially like when I meet influencers or I come across their page and they're like 19 years old, and I'm like, dude, like you was a baby when Juvenile Back That A Up came out. Like you're not even in the 90s. Like you was just born when I started watching Family Guy in 2000.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
so it really shakes my head when people who like, you're not even in my era, but you're already an influencer. You've already taken what my generation has created and mastered it, and you're 17, you're 18. You ain't even had a job yet, a part-time job. You don't even understand what it's like to go out there and just like to know like, I don't want to do this. When you were born, and as soon as you got into high school and you start really discovering who you are, you seen probably like someone in my generation doing something, you're like, I can do that. And then you just did it. Like, it was a lot different for me. You know, I'm 28. I had to like make a decision like, look, man, you could take this social media thing serious and really like reach out to people, when somebody in the next generation that's younger than me, just like, I didn't really have any choice. I just saw it and I liked it and I wanted to do it. And, you know, it was a much easier bridge for them to kind of just jump on. But I think the year 2020 really helped motivate a lot of our generation to just make that jump. You know what I mean? Take that stand, or it educated us a lot more as far as like, you know, it's not that we're broken. It's just that we've never been in this type of position before. And I seen older gentlemen like scared for what was going on this year. And that's when I knew like this just never happened. And we just the first to experience it. And like everything, time is going to pass. We are going to move past it, and then we're going to be able to educate maybe the generation after the next and be like, you know, that was a real difficult time, but, you know, what we didn't realize, we were creating a foundation for the next 100 years, you know what I mean, on what life will be like. How can our kids and grandkids start to understand what's your true purpose in life versus what school you going to go to and what job you going to get, what career you going to have, you know? So I think we're doing a great job at being an example. And like I said, I think that with that comment that you made earlier, being in the driver's seat is so nerve-wracking. It's like when you're 16 and your parents take you driving for the first time. Like, you're nervous, but you want to do it, but you're so nervous. And the only way you can get past it and understand is with experience, and just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until one day you just, you know how you are when you're good at driving. You got the seat back. Yeah, you just chilling because it took a lot of time though. So like, I think we're doing a great job, and like I said, we're getting comfortable and we're settling in because we're understanding the position that we have. We understand the power that we have. So,
I mean,
yeah, I think millennials we had such a burden at a time, right? Because we were trying to please our parents. We were trying to do everything that they wanted us to do, but also seeing that it's just not working. So we're trying to please them, but you could see, I could tell the moment I got into college, this is not gonna work for me. This is not gonna end well. This is not gonna be good. Like, I should not be here. I should be putting these young years where I'm excited. I could stay up till 3 a.m, wake up at 5 and still be good. Like, I need to be putting these years into something else, bro. Like, this is not it. Like, studying for these tests and I forget the information the moment I leave the room. Like, this is not it. And I could see it, but they're still paying for stuff. So you're like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta check this box. And then before you know it, you start to get into this routine style life, and your energy goes down, right? Because we are getting older. We're getting into our 30s. We're getting in, almost 40s, right? You start to get older. That drive to just want to innovate and want to create and want to do something new starts to go away. So I think one of the biggest things that we are able to do for this next generation is show them and be able to tell them from experience, like, yo, 18, 17, 16, it don't matter. If you want to be innovative, do it now. Mm-hmm. Now is your time to do it. Screw college. College will always be there. I used to hate when people would say, why would a basketball player go one and done? He's getting a free education. So you telling me you wouldn't go make $3 million, and then I could pay for whatever tuition I need to pay for? I could do 20 years of college with $3 million. That's not a risk. I don't feel like not going to college is a risk if you truly have a plan of attack that you're going to execute. It's not a risk anymore, because quiet as it's kept. You can go to, I know people that have gone to school for 10, 12 years and come out of college and can't make a dime. It really is not that much of a difference maker to me, in my opinion. So I think that's one of the greatest things that we're able to do to them is give them that freedom and that credence, and we can be that voice of wisdom to say like, nah, bro, you're not too young. You know, I don't care that you're 14, man. Start that YouTube channel, bro. Here, go get a camera and just start recording X, Y, Z, because technology is even more in abundance now. Hey, bro, get on TikTok. You know, you can have 70K followers. You can put them towards clothing line or whatever. Start it. You know, and I think that was one of the things that we were not given. We weren't given that ability to start now, because I'm telling you, if I was in Gen Z, I would have started a YouTube channel at 15, bro. I promise you I would have started a YouTube channel earlier when I had that type of energy. Now it's a little different, right? We're doing things a little differently. We're a lot more of a cautious group. I feel like we're a very cautious but innovative group. Gen Z is way less cautious with it. They're like, you know, I don't even care. I'm just about to make all these shirts, bro. We're more cautious because we've seen how things cannot work out and you end up in $150K worth of debt. So we've seen that. So we're a lot more dip the toes in, where they're more cannonball style, which I like that. I like the fact that we're able to build these bridges and be like that kind of voice of reason. Like when younger people come to me and they're like, yo, so, you know, you think it's cool if I do, you know, X, Y, and Z on Instagram? I'm like, bro, go all in. Go all in. Because like I said, college will be there. That's not the end all be all. That's what we were taught. And we learned that that wasn't true, right? We were told there was light at the end of the tunnel. But that was a flashlight. That wasn't the sun. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I look at it. Vicky, I wanted to get your opinion on how do you feel about our generation moving forward, right? So we're in the driver's seat now, and that means that we got about, what, like 5-10 years before we're out of it. You know, how do you see how we're going to be moving forward? And then some of us are even on the older end of that, so they're going to phase out quicker. I know I'm kind of on the, I mean, I'm 92, so I'm kind of like on the middle, I guess.
With you.
But there's some people that are on the older side, like that 81, where they're going to be phasing out soon. Like they tired, they tired, they done with it. How do you see our generation moving forward? Like, you know.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. I think our generation, on a larger scale, was we saw what it was like for things not to work out, or to discover your passion in college and it's not what you had planned on going to school for. So I think we started making those leaps into, I think the average, they say like the average person changes careers or jobs like 7 times in their lifetime. But I think we were just more daring in taking those steps. So I think that we'll continue to be that way. I think one thing that we could, well, I don't even know how we're doing on this, but just with all these innovative things that have come up in social media and now COVID, like loneliness and anxiety is a huge issue, especially for the younger kids. You know, they're not going to school, as some of them are not going to school as normal, so they're not with their friends, or there's just now all this internet that creates isolation from, they don't play outside like how we played outside, that kind of stuff. So the anxiety, depression, loneliness is a huge thing in the younger generation. So I think that we could I don't know exactly what we could be doing. Well, if I sat down and really thought about it, But, I think that we could do more to kind of help that or ease that, or whether it's encouraging a certain mindset or different steps to take in balancing this new technology that we have, or balancing whatever lifestyle that you have. So that they're getting real people interaction. Studies have shown that if there's someone in the hospital and they get visitors, they're more likely to recover quicker, that kind of stuff. So how can we still keep the in-person, real-life social interaction and still be innovating, new technologies, all this different stuff. So I think our generation will probably be in the driver's seat in how things progress forward in terms of that.
Yeah, I do think that's a big, issue. Yeah, I do think it's an issue. Like the inability to have person-to-person interaction, the inability, because I do see that in some of like the younger people, it's harder for them to even hold a basic conversation, and it get deeper than just like, hey, how's it going? What you doing? It ends there, So I do think that we could do a better job at helping them to navigate that, because we kind of, like you said, we saw it all. Like, it's kind of crazy. We were like the last generation to play outside, and then like PS1 came in, and like PS2, then you started to see
But
the
because we played
Xboxes.
outside, we knew how to balance the video games and played outside.
Yeah, but see, they didn't. They were just raised with, here's a Game Boy.
Right,
Take this
exactly.
Not
Nintendo
even
Switch.
a Game Boy. Here's an iPad.
Yeah,
Right.
they have
You got an
everything.
iPad.
Yeah, exactly. They all know it all now. Now you look it up, you know. But yeah, I do think that we could play a bigger role in kind of helping them to have those relationships, because like you said, college is also social. So if you're going to start a business at 18 and not go to college, you will miss out on that aspect. And I think that's probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest aspects of college. So now we got to get innovative again and figure out, okay, what environments can we create then, right? What about like a coalition of young people starting businesses or whatever, you know what I mean? Just have these different, you know, things where, workshops, and how do we create like maybe studios where people can come and work on their different businesses and network with each other, like, you know, things like that. So Myles, I want to ask you, what are some things you think that we could do better as a generation to kind of, you know, set that alley-oop for the Gen Zs, and I don't even know what comes after that.
Man, you really tapped on it though. Like that was a real thing. The mental health of the Z generation is key. I feel like, I don't know about our generation being a generation that's going to be the perfect example for them, because I from my perspective, I don't even know where to start to kind of fix that type of problem. Only reason I know it's not a problem for our generation, like you said, we was born in a time where we didn't necessarily have access to that stuff. We just remember. Like, it's kind of like, I remember drinking faucet water. I have no problem sometimes drinking faucet water. But now I have, every apartment I move into, there's a water thing connected to my refrigerator. So now I'm just accustomed to using that. But I remember what it was like to drink faucet water. So I appreciate it a little bit more. It's not something I can really teach a younger kid about it, but it's like, I mean, I just kind of understand it now. And try to give you a better example. Let's say social media. I have days where I have to balance that out. I can't avoid it all the way because I use it for business. I can't abandon my business because I don't want to be on social media today. It's my office. So I have to understand, if I'm going to be on this, let's be effective. And if you're not going to be on it, if you're not being effective, let's put it to the side and let's like interact with somebody. Let's have a real life conversation. But that comes with me having experience in it. I was there when technology and social media start to take off. I watched it. How can I prepare another individual who didn't see everything that I've seen? Like, how can I put in words the right information that he needs to understand? Like, look, man, sometimes you either need a break or you have to separate that this is a business, social media. If you're just marketing, leave it at that. And this is your life. You keep them separate. How can I put in words to that individual? I honestly don't know. What I'm trying to say is, I don't feel like we're going to fix that problem for them. I feel like that's going to be a problem that they're going to have to fix on their own. Just like we had to figure out what direction we were going in. You know what I mean? The last generation, they couldn't give us a guide on that. So like, that may just be their problem, but, could we set better examples? Absolutely. Which means a lot of kids that start to come to these workshops that we may create, they start to see where, look, man, they got 45 minutes where everybody puts their phone down and they're just talking. You know, oh, cool. You know, maybe we should do something like that, you know, kind of get everybody in our crew to kind of interact a little bit more. Like, because I pay attention to it. I see when I'm in a room with individuals how many people are on their phone. Or like when I'm talking to you, if your body's turned this way and you're on your phone, you're not really listening. I can tell, but that's because of the generation that we're in. Like, we're just naturally like that. So I guess the best way is to just be the example, as far as like, that was a great example though, which I said, like hosting those little workshops and invite that younger crowd to those workshops, but kind of run them as if you're aware of the mental health. We are aware that, you know, like you guys may get anxiety or depression, especially in times like this where people are not going to school and being around their friends. See, to me, that's not a big problem, but I know to some individual, that is everything to them to be around their friends. You know what I mean? The opinion of their friends means everything to them. So like, if they're at home all day where they're just around their thoughts, it's probably hurting them. And so, like, it's stuff like that we have to be more sensitive about and reach out to those people. So I would say for our generation, yes, we probably can do more events, more programs to where we're demonstrating, yes, you can use social media to be effective, to be an influence, to be a positive example for most people out there. But you also want to understand that it's like work hours. Like for 2 hours, okay, I'm gonna chill and I'm just gonna interact with people. You know, how was your day? How did that make you feel? How's your mom? Is she doing good? I heard she was out the hospital. You know, actually have these conversations to kind of build that connection, because that's real right there. That's a real feeling. So it's just like when people get a like, you know, it's dopamine, right? It feels good. It feels good when you have a genuine conversation with somebody. We just have to kind of put the light back on that feeling as well.
I think one of the things that I do is I'm very intentional about that, about meeting people in real life. Even if I've met them on social media, I'm very intentional about, like, I'm going to give you actual time. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to digest it, and then I want to ask questions related to what you said. And I think that's something that we can do, is being more intentional about it. I think it's kind of easy to just kind of shrug it off and be like, oh, figure it out on your own. But I think if we create, like you said, I love the idea of let's have a workshop, and then for the first 45 minutes, phones are off, they in the bucket somewhere, you got to talk. Y'all got to figure out how to have a conversation that lasts 45 minutes. And that should not be a daunting task, you know what I mean? Because it's crazy. I still remember not even having a phone, bro, or just being able to play Snake. And you ain't gonna play Snake for the whole damn time, you know what I mean? So I remember that. I remember catching the bus to school. Me and my best friend caught the bus in 7th grade to 11th grade. I caught the bus, walked to school. We ain't had nothing to do but talk. Nothing to do but go outside. What else you gonna do? You wasn't about to sit inside all day and watch TV. My mama gonna allow that. I remember racing bikes, walking to the corner store, like, you know, just, and I think people take simple stuff like that for granted, you know, and kind of how that shaped us and our ability to just navigate this world. I mean, think about things like, you know, when your mom pulls up to the gas station, you pumping the gas. Like, there's just little things that we did and that we were privy to, that now we just have to be a lot more intentional about giving these younger generations, because they have an alternate. We didn't have an alternate. You know, there was no alternative to playing outside. You just not gonna have fun today.
Right, right. You're not gonna have fun. Right?
You're just gonna have a, you know
just
what I mean? Like, you're just gonna sit
fun.
and watch the wall. Like,
that's
we didn't
how
have
they
an alternative.
you though back then. Like,
exactly.
Don't go outside.
You'd be so mad. You'd be looking out the window.
Yeah, we didn't have a different outlet for them. It's like, I could do the Switch. I could be hopping this Xbox One. I could get on Fortnite. I could throw my PC on. Like, they have all these different things. So we just have to be, especially parents, you know, intentional about, no, let's go play outside, man. Like, I remember every Sunday, this was in the summers, every Sunday, my dad was a baseball player, so every Sunday, he would get all his baseball gear, bunch of black kids in the hood, so you know they don't know how to play baseball. But we would gather everybody up and go play pickup baseball. Me and my brothers knew how to play because we played, so we'd have to teach everybody how to play, but it was just regular fun, regular trash talk, like just being amongst each other. We had phones, but we never brought them out there. It wasn't like we were trying to take a boomerang of the bat, you know what I mean? It wasn't that kind of stuff. It was just very, dang, bro, you suck, man. Like, why you know, like, we just playing a game. And I think people take that kind of stuff for granted when you get older and now you're asked to do these things, because not every one of these kids is going to be an influencer. One day they're going to have to lead a project team at a corporation that you might own, and they're going to have a meeting. They're going to have to host that meeting, but they don't know how to make eye contact and talk to people and formulate opinions and say it out of their mouth. They know how to type it. They know how to put it in a comment section, but they don't know how to formulate that idea and then say it. Think and then speak. So I do believe we need to be a lot more intentional about the types of interactions that we're having with people, right? I try my best when I'm talking to somebody to not be on my phone, especially if it's like a serious conversation. I try my best to, like, just push it to the side. At least, I mean, I want to give them at least a good 15 minutes to just, like, I want to hear what you got to say. I want you to know that I want to hear what you got to say.
Like, learn to active listen.
Active listening is super key. That's one of the reasons why I started this. It's a lot of just active listening. I'm listening to what y'all have to say, and then I'm going to ask questions based on that. I don't come with a list of questions and things that we have to hit. It's like, oh, dang, Vicky brought something up. Let's pivot. I want to elaborate on that. You said something great. Let's move in that direction. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's be more intentional about the interactions that we're having with these younger individuals, And just
And that's
kind of
in
try
how
to
they
give them
feel,
the
too.
memories that you say you have.
Right,
Like, I
right.
remember when, let's try to give them some of those memories. I remember this one time I was talking to Myles, and, he didn't even look at his phone. And it felt so good that he was listening to me, and he was actually taking everything that I was saying in. He was asking me questions and things I never thought about. Like, give them those memories too.
They're gonna feel it because they're not in a generation where that's normal. You know what I
Right,
mean? So
right.
it's gonna be different for them. Like, he ain't looked at his phone not one time. And I'm like, yeah, because we're having a conversation. Like, you're absolutely right, though. I definitely believe taking the time. Just because I've been talking to this young guy. He's like 19 years old. I met him at the mall. Just moved to Houston. He's real eager to just like kind of find himself here. He finished school. And he just moved out here with his family. And like I said, it's a kid that was born in 2001. I'm like, Jesus Christ! And you're
When that used to
grown,
sound crazy.
and you're grown. Like he's technically
Yeah, that's
grown.
true, yes.
So I'm like, man, like, what did you watch when you was a kid?
Yeah, what did you watch?
Like, what was your shows like? Because it's probably something that I was watching in 2005. That was nothing. Like, I just be so amazed. Like when the post 2020, it was like if you was born in 2001, you're like technically grown. I'm like, you're right, they are. Like, they can go almost to the bar with me, almost. You know what I mean? But like, it just amazes me though, and to see. He didn't like go out, get the job at McDonald's and was like, you know what, this is not for me. He was just born in a time to where like 3 years ago when he was 17, he seen another influencer that I probably already seen and was like, I'm gonna do that. And then was just eager enough to just do it. Versus me, like you said, we had parents saying college. College was a big thing for me because like, I was like, man, if I go to college, I should be good. I should graduate.
Right. That's what they made it seem
Bump into
like.
a job, like I should be fine after that. And it did not go that way. I found myself in college. Like, dude, like, what are we gonna do here? Do you like this? Are you
what are we
enjoying
gonna
life?
do?
Do you want to be successful? Because I'm like, I know I'm a smart guy. I know I like knowledge, but it was just something wasn't right. It's like something wasn't right, and I think. One thing that a lot of people don't speak about our generation is how traumatized we really are. Like we had our parents tell us to go do something, and then when we went to go do it, for a lot of people it didn't feel right, but you did it anyway. And then when you get there and you don't feel right, it's like maybe I'm gonna mess up in life. Maybe I'm like the only. Because it's like
That's true though.
I
That is a
Start to
trauma.
feel like the
That is a
failure.
trauma.
Man,
Yeah.
like you see all these
Then you
people
gotta get past
graduating
it.
and like they're looking like their life is like turning out perfect. And I understand you don't judge a book by its cover, but let's just be honest here. But like if I see this person graduating, they're in my class, and I'm like, I still don't even know what I'm a major in. Like I remember going to class and like telling and it being like straight off the back, like I know this ain't got nothing to do with what I'm really doing in life, but I'm just trying to get by.
Get the degree.
And so now when people ask me, what'd you get your degree in? I'm like, it's in kinesiology, but I'm not trying to be a teacher. I don't want to be a trainer. I don't want to be none of that. I want to be an influencer. I want to let my voice be, I want to let it be a weapon to help people. And I didn't go to school for none of that. I learned all this on YouTube, watching kids younger than me or older than me.
YouTube
And that's
University,
kinda
baby.
like,
Man, for real.
If they start charging tuition, I'll pay that.
And that's kind of like I read this article talking about like the Kylie Jenner effect. I don't know if that's really what it's called, but it's there are a lot of people getting anxiety or like depression because she's so young.
Yeah.
And then she was the first,
youngest
self-made,
billionaire.
you know, all of that. So people are looking at people like Kylie Jenner or whatnot. I'm like, dang, she's rich.
It's not.
And
the
she's
crazy thing is
19.
not new.
She's not 19 now, but I think at the time I read the article, she was really young. Yeah. So it's like seeing those stories now, you were dealing with your own trauma of like trying to get, you thought you wanted to do something or you were trying to please someone and you're like, okay, well, I'll just get that and then I'll do what I really want. But then that transition can even be tough. So it's like you're navigating and trying to deal with these different emotions, trying to make sure you're not comparing yourself to other people. And of course that becomes natural. It's just like making sure you're getting yourself out of that. But like the generation before us, they didn't really have to do that because they didn't see their peers on a frequent and like inundating scale that we see our peers. They didn't have like social media, so they weren't seeing what James was doing every day.
Ireland.
Yeah, like
they didn't
get there.
They only found out because James called them on the phone or
Wrote him a
they
letter.
ran into him at the grocery store. So yeah, it's
It's a lot.
It's going to be
man.
interesting.
So let's end it this way. Myles, what's one piece of advice that you could give a millennial person right now who's maybe struggling with, they're doing something they don't want to do? We know time's running out. No, it's not running out. Let me not say that. Let me not say
Put
that.
time on their back.
We get into our
Much time
destination. We driving and we get into our destination soon. All right, let's put it that way. We're about to
making
have
it.
to switch drivers, right? We're getting
We
sleepy.
riding on fumes.
We're about to have to switch drivers, all right? What piece of advice could you give that person to start taking the action and do the things that they really want to do?
I would say to that individual, that fire that's been burning deep inside of you, that you just always felt like, man, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I say act on it. It's there for a reason. It's been there for a long time just to kind of wake you up. And I like to believe a lot of other things in your past didn't work out to kind of lead you to where you are right now, to get you on the right track. So I guess in a short version, trust yourself and trust your heart, because it's okay that you didn't fall into the norm. If you didn't finish college, or you didn't, that corporate job didn't kind of fit you, because that's not the norm no more. You know what I mean? So act on what you want to do. And I'm not saying everybody's a CEO or a Bill Gates, or, you know, where they have the idea. Some people, you know, if you cook very well, you should probably just be cooking. You should do what you're passionate about, and you probably are a bigger influence when you're in the kitchen, and you can be a big influence for a lot of other people when you're in the kitchen, because that's where you're at peace at. If you braid hair, you should be braiding hair. Like that's your area of influence, and that's where you can be a big help to the next generation at, because you're doing you're doing your purpose. You're walking in your purpose. So I just want to say, for a lot of millennials, like, trust that fire in your heart and act on it, because it's there for a reason. We all know what I'm talking about. We all know that feeling, that gut feeling where you like, look, I know what y'all telling me to do, but I feel like I should be doing this. I feel like I should be doing this. That's what I'm doing. Like, I'm just acting on what I know feels right and what kind of aligns with me. And they say an individual who has a clear vision lives a very narrow life. Like, it's straight. And once you know what your vision is, you know what to do, but you also know what not to do. You know those things that won't help you get to your vision. So to that millennial, trust yourself and just act on it.
Vicky?
My advice, I think self-awareness is key, especially in this society that's changing so quickly. And for us millennials, where you might be, you know, and like you were saying, not everyone is like a Bill Gates or has that type of route ahead of them, but it's just about self-awareness, knowing yourself, figuring out what your purpose is, not being afraid to take a step back if you need to, because once you've figured out your vision or your purpose, it's going to help somebody else. It will. Whether you were intentional about it or not, you living in your purpose is going to help somebody else. So if we're trying to help the generation before us, if we can at least create that example, I think it will lead to a better future.
Set attainable goals. Be realistic and set attainable goals, and do it now. You holding on to that idea and marinating it for 5 years is not going to make it a better idea. Start now. It's going to suck now, but you will get better over time. So set attainable goals, start whatever you want to start right now. And yes, it's going to suck when you first started, but we are in the era of quickness. You have to move fast and consistently. That's the era that we're in right now. We can't, you don't sit on ideas for 10, 12 years anymore. I have it. I'm going to figure out the resources to make it happen, and I'm going to start now. So that would be my piece of advice for people. Make attainable goals, right? Because false goals will lead to depression. So set attainable goals and start today. I want to thank you guys for coming on, man. I appreciate your time. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour. Appreciate you, Grandma, for bringing grandson. Now that's 2. We just need more of y'all. Peace out.